Hey everyone, Wolf Lord Rho here. Today I continue my series on the top 3 recommended reads for each and every Primarch, with the angel Sanguinius. No need for a spoiler warning today, but just keep in mind I will be mentioning events of the various stories that I name. So you have been warned, and with that said, let's waste no time and just jump straight in. Okay, so as I did with Horus the first time, before I name my top 3 Sanguinius recommended reads, I'm going to name a couple of honourable mentions. The first of which is the novel Ruinstorm by author David Annandale. This one finishes off the Imperium Secundus storyline, with the Angel, Guilliman and Lionel Johnson now trying to break through the storm and reach the throne world. And it's a particularly good installment for Sanguinius, now certain he has to face Horus in battle. And it sees him come to the realisation that the future truly isn't necessarily set, that fate can be defied. And you get some great interactions with his brothers along the way. L. Johnson, Guilliman, and even the captured Conrad. Sanguinius even boarding L. Johnson's flagship, the Invincible Reason, to bust Conrad out of his cell. Which isn't quite how it sounds. And it also has the moment the Angel fires Conrad out into the void. So Ruinstorm is a good one. It's a good one. The final installment before the Angel reaches the throne world. Now, the next honourable mention I'm going to say is The Lost and the Damned by Guy Haley. In all honesty, I could have easily named 3 Siege of Terror novels for the recommended reads. The Siege of Terror is his time to shine before the sacrifice, and shine he absolutely does. However, there's so much going on in the Siege of Terror novels and so many different storylines. I really wanted to keep the Siege of Terror recommendations to just one, at least for my top 3. So some of them I'm mentioning here. In Lost and the Damned, you get some fantastic moments. Sanguinius interacting with his brothers Jagatai and Rogol, learning from Malcador that one of their brothers knew the truth of chaos. And one of the greatest moments of all time, as Sanguinius leads the charge out into no man's land to save his brother Jagatai. Again, the siege is just great for Sanguinius fans, and this one is one of my favourite installments of the siege entire. And on that note, I have to add in The End and the Death Volume 2 as well. The long anticipated duel against the War Master. You get the surprising interaction with the departed Ferrus along the way, which was an absolute joy to behold. But of course it's all about the fight. We knew how it had to end, but it still breaks your heart every time. It's not my favourite installment of the Siege of Terror, it has to be said, but for the moment it covers, it has to have a mention. However, with the honourable mentions out the way, on to my top 3 recommended Sanguinius reads, with number 1, Sanguinius the Great Angel by author Chris Raitt. Now, technically this is a Primarch series novel rather than part of the official Horus Heresy book order. However, honestly it's all heresy, so what does it matter? You might think the Primarch series installment is going to be an obvious pick for every Primarch, but actually that's not the case. Some of them weren't great, with the mainline Heresy series having much better offerings. However, Sanguinius's is absolutely one of the better. This tells the story of a controversial remembrancer being tasked with telling the story of the Blood Angels Legion, at the request of the Angel himself. And if you're a Blood Angels fan, it doesn't get any better. It is pure and complete Blood Angels Legion all the way, with some great insights into the nature of the Angel, why he is so important to his Legion, and why he wasn't named War Master, the difference between him and his brother Horus Lupercal. It's not the most action-packed read you're ever going to get, but it is a fantastic one for sure, truly seeing the nature of the Primarch and his Legion explored. If you're a Sanguinius fan, it has to be a must-read. Number 2 of my top recommended Sanguinius reads is Fear to Tread by author James Swallow. The first Blood Angels novel of the Heresy series, and the story of how Horus's betrayal was revealed to the Angel. This is Horus's attempt at having Sanguinius taken out before he can become a threat, not only as an enemy, but also the War Master knowing how much the gods would value him. The Blood Angels Legion is mustered at Cygnus Prime, where the demonic forces of Chaos and Kabanda would be unleashed. It's been a long time since I've read this one, and honestly it's about time I really gave it another read. But it is quintessential reading to understand the Angel as the Heresy moves forward. His emotions, his feelings, his determination, and even honestly his guilt. In regards to his sons at least. You can't read Sanguinius in the Heresy without reading this as well. If you do, you're missing a huge part of his character. However, my third and final recommended read for Sanguinius just has to be Echoes of Eternity by author Aaron Dembski Bowden. Come on. You knew this had to be in there somewhere. I remember saying years ago in the earlier days of the channel, how the Angel needed a defining pinnacle moment to build him up for that final duel against the War Master. Something that, despite us knowing it's impossible, could make us think that he could maybe, just maybe, win. And my word, Echoes of Eternity delivers that. This is Sanguinius giving absolutely everything he has in the name of his father, being the shining focal point of the defenders, the single-handed inspiration of that defense, and the light against the dark. We get to see him decapitating a Titan, beating down Kabanda and Angron back to back, and even flashbacks of his meeting the Emperor and then meeting his Legion for the very first times. Yes, with the Siege of Terra novels there's a bunch of other stuff going on within them, such as Vulcan entering the webway here, but this is in truth easily Sanguinius's novel. And if there's only one novel you could ever read of his character, honestly, it would have to be this. It is absolutely astounding. And so that's it. That is my top 3 recommended reads of the Angel Sanguinius. Sanguinius the Great Angel, Fear to Tread, and Echoes of Eternity, along with some notable honourable mentions. And so as always everyone, what do you think? Do you agree with my top 3 recommended reads for the Angel? Do you disagree? And if so, what novels would you choose? Would you stick entirely to the Siege of Terra? Or like me, would you prefer to focus on novels that focus on the Angel specifically? And what do you think of my honourable mentions? As always, leave your thoughts in the comments below. A huge thank you to all my subscribers, your support truly means a lot to me, it really does. If you're new, please consider subscribing to help the channel grow. And if you enjoyed this particular vid, then why not drop a like on it too. But with that said, I am off, and I'll see you all again real soon.